Hey guys, welcome to video number 2 of my tutorial series on how to make a Flappy Bird game in LibGDX and Java. This video we're going to cover a lot of stuff and it might be a little confusing. It's been a while since I've done this, so a lot of this is still going to be like setup type stuff that you're probably just going to do once and forget a lot of because I know I do. Once you do it once, it's okay, because then you have a good framework. You can kind of copy that on your next game, and it'll make things go faster. So just bear with me through this. And if you don't understand something, you can ask in the comments, or you can look it up on Google, or you can just copy it and not think about it right now. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to define the resolution for our game. And the resolution is going to be 300 by 480. So I'll get started by putting that right in here. We can delete this stuff. This is in the Flappy game class. Delete the batch and image and put a couple constants. $300. And then our height is going to be 480. Okay, so our game is going to be drawn to a surface of this resolution, and it's just going to be scaled up to whatever resolution the user has on his phone or desktop, I guess. But I'm only using the desktop for I guess testing purposes. That's one thing LibGDX is really good for, is you can run your game on desktop and test it really quickly, as opposed to downloading it to your phone, which takes like, I don't know, 20 seconds. It's a huge difference. Okay, so next thing, let's get rid of this stuff in our create method here. Our create, we're going to call this method called setScreen, and we're going to give it a new gameplay screen, which I need to define right now, but why isn't this setScreen showing up? No. Okay, anyways, well, I'll make this gameplay screen first, and then we'll come back to this. So let me just make a new class, gameplay screen. Okay. And this is going to extends screen adapter. So the screen adapter is a LibGDX thing. Import the reference here. So if you want to see what this is, you can hold Control and left click on it, and it'll take you to the source code. So we'll see that this just implements screen, which I'll go into screen, and screen is just an interface with these methods like show, render, resize, pause, resume. So what these are is, this is kind of tricky for me to explain, but for example, if you're on Android and let's say you're playing a game on your phone and you push the home button and you go to your home screen, well, that's going to call the pause method in this case. So you might want to do something like, in here you would pause the game or whatever. That would be your implementation. This is just the interface, so it's saying we have to have one of these methods. So same thing for I guess, if you were to go back into the game at that point, it would call the resume method, and you would put some stuff in here to maybe unpause the game or whatever. And I guess if you were to just totally kill the app or the game, you could put some stuff in here for dispose. So it works differently depending on what platform you're on. Like if you're on PC, then I don't know if you can, I don't know if there is like the ability to pause or not, but hopefully you get the idea from that explanation. But let me go back to where we were before. So we're going to extend the screen adapter, and then we're going to kind of define those methods like the, resume, pause, or whatever. So let's go here, add some stuff. I'm going to add I'll start with the constructor actually. Alt insert constructor. Okay, that worked. I like to use hotkeys a lot, so I'm kind of new to IntelliJ, so I'm going to try to learn as we go here. So I'm going to pass an instance of our game to this constructor, so it has a reference to it. And we can manipulate it in whatever way we want. Set it in the constructor. And then we're going to add one of these fancy camera things. Orthographic camera. And this is also a LibGDX thing. So I don't remember what this is exactly, but let's Alt enter, click. You can control click on it and kind of maybe read about what it does and how it works. Blah, blah, blah. Give it a width and height. Tells you kind of what to do with it. If you really want to, look into that, it's some OpenGL type stuff that I've always been like, what the hell is this doing? But anyways, I think maybe we'll work with it and you can kind of see how it's used. But if you want a great explanation of how it's of what it really is, then I'm not sure I'm your guy for that. So let's just set it to a new, we'll instantiate it there. And camera.set to ortho. Not sure we actually have to do this, but I always do it in my games. I'm gonna get the width that we just made in the previous. Okay. Okay, so we set up our camera. We set it to the width and the height that we wanted for the resolution. And when we're done with this, it's going to scale everything perfectly to whatever resolution it's running on. And we won't have to think about this anymore. So, okay, so we're actually going to override the resize method. And that's provided in our screen adapter resize. We're overriding this. So right now it doesn't do anything in this class. I'm going to override it to do something. I don't think we need that. And what we're going to do is we're going to, when this method is called, it gets called with a new width and a new height. So like, if I run this game and I stretch it out on my on Windows, I just grab the corner or whatever and change it. It'll call this method with the new width and new height of the new window size. So what we have to do for that is all we have to do is adjust the camera so that everything draws to fill the entire screen. So I don't think this is completely done, but this is, hopefully you get the idea. So save that. Okay. Now what's next? Next thing, we're going to add a assets class. And this is just going to be a new class. unfortunately, before I do that, let me see if I can actually run this. I don't think I can. Oh, why is this giving me an issue? Extends application adapter. Is that right? 1 second as I debug this. Oh, actually this is wrong. This has to extend game. And game implements application listener. Okay. So we were extending the wrong thing. So it didn't know what our set screen method is, and set screen is, I don't know if that's in here. No, there it is, yeah. Set screen. Back. Okay, so what this is doing is, your game has this concept of screens. So right now we're giving it this gameplay screen. You could give it like another screen, like maybe a game over screen or a main menu screen, which we'll do later, but for now I'm just going to send us straight to the gameplay screen when the game is created. Okay, so back to our next step, which was adding the assets class. So let's add new class. Oh wait, let's get rid of this stuff because I don't think we're okay. New class, assets. Okay. And the whole goal of today is to draw our stupid bird on the screen. So we're going to add a couple more objects. Texture atlas. And our batch is going to be here instead of like in the game like you just saw me delete. So these are going to be public static, so you can get to them from, you can access our resources from any class in the project. And they're disposables, which I'll talk about in 1 second. And this is going to be our bird, which is going to be a texture region, which I'll talk more about that later. And we're going to have a public static void load function or method, and this is going to be called, like, when the game starts up, it's going to load our assets. So atlas, we're going to load our texture atlas equals new texture atlas, and we have to give it a file that's going to hold our atlas. And I'll show you what that is later on when I actually bring in that file or make the file. Realize I'm not the best at explaining this stuff, guys, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Not that I can hear you right now, but okay, so what did I just do? On the load, we're going to set our atlas, we're going to initialize the sprite batch, and we're going to get this region called bird and set our bird object to that. So that's just going to be like an image of the bird. Next thing, we're going to make a new method, dispose method. And this is going to dispose of our disposable classes. So if I hold control, click on one of these classes, and you'll see that it implements disposable, which means You have to dispose of it when your game exits. Otherwise, it'll be like a memory leak or something. So let's go back. And all we have to do is dispose that way and this guy. Okay. So we just got to remember to call this method upon exiting our app. So if you remember the screen class I was showing you, that has the screen adapter, whatever it was called. It has a destroy method, which gets called when the game exits. And that's when we want to call our assets dispose. Get rid of these. And I actually do this to make sure I actually don't know if you really have to have these, but I'll put them there anyways because that's just what I do. So that'll protect against like a null pointer exception. You know, if dispose gets called and these actually weren't loaded yet, which should never be the case, we're not going to get some weird null pointer error. Okay, so that's that class. Save that. Now what do we have to do? Next step. Load and dispose the assets on game create and destroy. Okay, so go back. Basically, we're just going to call these methods in the right place. Flappy game, and in our create, we're going to do an assets. Remember, it was a static class, so we can access it from anywhere. You can tell by the capital A. Means we're talking about the class, not an instance of the class. And let's see, here we have, we don't need this stuff. Let's delete that. And we'll call the dispose method there. Okay. Next thing. This is probably going to be the hardest part of the whole thing, or the most confusing part. If you don't understand this, it's okay. I'm just going to rush through it. Let's see. We have to add the assets packer, which is a LibGDX, to our game. So first thing we have to do, we're going to add our dependency, and you do that by opening this build.gradle, and I think this is at the top level here. And we want this dependency in the desktop project. So here you see project desktop, because we only need to run. This tool doesn't really have anything to do with the running of our game. It just is a tool that we need to use to compile all of our textures into the one texture atlas. So you can always look at the wiki and get a better explanation for this, but all you really have to know is, I guess, the graphics card has a much happier time when you have fewer textures than when you have a whole bunch of separate textures that it needs to switch in and switch out, is my understanding. So this is a LibGDX tool that's going to compile all the textures into one big texture, and everything's going to be great. So I'll add the compile, just pretty much copy this part. GDX version. Okay. So what this does is basically this build.gradle file is how you manage your dependencies, or what Gradle does for you is it brings in all the different dependencies of your project for you. So up here, if I wanted like a older version of LibGDX, I could just like change this to a lower version, and then when I went to build it, when I clicked build, it would like resolve that dependency for me, that new dependency. And the way it does that is it knows, I guess it has a reference to this central repository out there on the internet where people like post versions of their libraries, and it actually goes there and it like looks for whatever number you put in and gets it for you and takes care of it for you. So it's pretty nice. So we just added this GDX tools, and we're going to use the version. This is a variable. I guess it's this variable, 1.5.5, for the tools package. So once you do that, let's see. I'm gonna add my bird image here. Okay, guys, I'm back. So all I've done right now is I copied this image. This is gonna be our bird. I put him into this folder. This is the project folder. I put him in this folder. I made a new folder called Unpacked External Assets. I put the image in there. I named this Unpacked External Assets because it's not going to be a really part of our deployment of our build. It's just going to be like all the images are going to go in here, and they're going to get packed up with our tool that I'm about to show you how to use into one texture, and that texture is going to be part of our project. But this stuff, whatever's in here, is not going to be. It's just going to be a folder where we're going to put everything. So let's see if we can't pack this up. Let me just make a few copies of this so I can kind of show you what the packer is going to do. Okay, so I made 4 of these guys. Now I'm going to try to run my texture packer. Just let me see if I can try to find a texture packer. Okay. So I just did a Control N, and you can type in the name of your class that you're looking for. And the one that you want is texture packer. And I think the first time you do this, you might have to hit build after you put in your this tools line, so that Gradle will bring in that dependency, and then you can have access to the classes that are in the tools. So texture packer is one of those classes. But once you get it to come up here, you know that it's in your project and you're ready to use it. So I'm going to go to this texture packer class. And to use this, we have to point it to the input directory, which is like this directory with all of our textures. I'm going to point it to this guy, and then we're going to give it like an output directory. So let me see. The output is going to be in this Android assets folder, I think. So let me see if I can get this set up correctly. Let's see, where's like, does this have like a main method or something? Go to, trying to find the shortcut for that. Jump to method. Control F12. There's main. Oh man, I just turned on my fraps thing here. Let me get rid of that. No. Okay. Okay, so main. So it takes, these are our command line arguments, you have to pass it. So usage, that's what we want. Input directory, output directory, which I guess that means is optional. And then the pack file name. So how do we run this class with these arguments? Well, what you do is you come here, you go to run, and edit configurations. And I actually have it here already. But this is what you're going to do. You're going to, I think you click on plus, go to application to add a new application, and I'll just name this texture packer demo, just because I'm showing you guys. And I'm going to say, what's the name of that class? Texture packer, yep. See that I'm doing this correctly, okay. And then the arguments, it's going to be our input directory, output directory, file path name. I'll just copy this because I already have them here. So our input directory is unpacked external assets. And let's see, unpacked. There it is. So it's relative to this folder, your top level project folder. And then the output directory is Android assets folder. And the name of it is going to be pack, is the name of our output file. And I think that's all you have to set here. Oh, and you have to pick your module, which is going to be the desktop module. Okay. So let's just do a, see if we can run this. I'll cancel out of that and run my original one. Run. Oh, it doesn't like this for some reason. Maybe it will. Run. Okay, so we'll give it a second here. Shouldn't take very long. Promise we're almost done with this day 2. We're almost there, guys. Just bear with me. Okay, so it's going to give you this weird thing. I don't know what this is all about. Upgrading your Gradle version, just hit OK. It'll change something for you. And it didn't work. Why not? Class not found exception. What is that all about? It doesn't find our texture packer. Let's see. Do I have to like rebuild my game or something? Try compiling it again. Okay. Try it again. Okay. All right, it worked. I don't know. I guess I had to recompile it, or maybe the IDE was not refreshed or something. I don't know. But okay, it says, you know, it took our 4 images and packed them and put them in this pack.png. So I go here to Android assets, pack.png. it's only one thing for some reason. I was expecting to see 4. Let's see. Maybe we have to name them differently. Okay, let's see what it does with this. Run the texture packer again. And it's done. Why is this not? Okay, so you see this pack.atlas file. It has, you know, each bird texture got its own details here. So it just tells it the size, offset. Offset is 0 for all these for some reason. And the offset should be different. So I'm not sure why that's happening. But anyways, I guess for the purpose of this video, it's not important because we actually only want one of these guys anyways. So for now, I'll just, you know, forget about that issue. I can't really, I guess it's kind of a shame because I can't really show you what it's really going to do, but the idea is if you have a whole bunch of textures here, it's going to put them all into this one place and you'll see them all like all in this one file here. Anyways, for now we just want this guy. That's all we want. And let me just run this again actually. And then this is going to get rid of all these and we should just be left with this bird. And it's going to have offset 0, 0. So it's running, there it is. Yep, so we're left with just bird. And this is going to look the same, yep. Okay. So now what? Let me go back to my list of what to do here. So we're going to actually draw the bird now. This is a big step. So, man, I think this video is too long for one tutorial. So let me, well, we'll just get through it. I'll stop complaining about it, right? What we're going to do is we're going to make a new class bird. Okay. And we're going to extend another LibGDX thing called an actor. So first question is, what is an actor? Well, an actor, if you go in here, basically it's just this, it's going to hold its X and Y location for us. It has a width and height and all this other stuff, which you can kind of just not worry about right now. But it's going to give us the ability to add some stuff to our bird that would otherwise be kind of a pain, like tweens. We get that for free if we extend actor. So that's what we're going to do. Just makes things a lot easier on us. So let me just get through this. We're going to define some constants for this guy. Width and height. For now, they're just going to be 32, 32. And vector 2, which is a libgdx thing, is just like an x and a y, or a pair of values, I guess. We're going to have one for velocity and one for acceleration. So the velocity is just like the x and y velocity that an object is going. Acceleration is just x and y acceleration. If you look in this vector 2 class, It just has this X and Y members. That's pretty much all it is. And then these are just some constants. You know, if you want to use the 0 vector, you can just reference this. If you want to use the unit vector in the Y direction, or X, that's all it is. Pretty simple. And then we're going to keep track of our texture region, which is going to be that bird texture region that we just made. And we'll put in a constructor. Okay, it saved a lot of typing. Initialize the region, texture region. And, you know, we got our assets class we can access from anywhere, so just use it to get the bird. Control click, texture region bird. That was loaded on startup, so it should not be null. Set width, we're going to set width. That's a method that comes with actor. And we're going to set it to width up here that we defined. Set height to height. So it's going to be 32 by 32. Remember, these are just the static constants we defined. But the actual width for this bird is going to be stored in the, if I go into actor, there should be a width here. It's going to be stored into those parameters. So next thing to do is set our velocity, or initialize it to a, it's just going to be 0, 0. We're just going to initialize the vector. Could actually do that up here if you wanted to, but I'll just do it in the constructor for now. And then one thing every actor has to do is define its draw method. So every actor is in charge of drawing itself. If I go to this actor and I go to draw, search for the draw method, you'll see that this is just an empty method. So let's go back. We have to override that draw. Just type draw and it'll give you like this nice interface. You just pick draw and automatically puts in everything for you. So super draw, if I control click this, it's back to where I showed you. It's not doing anything. So that means we can get rid of this and do our own thing here. What we have to do is we have to call batch, which is one of the parameters we're getting here, draw, and there's a whole bunch of options for drawing that LibGDX provides. You can use to draw a region. So I'm going to go with one of these down here. It's like the longest one. Region, get X, get Y, get origin Y. I actually have this written down. I'm referencing something, so I'm not like, but let's just finish this off and we'll talk about it. Get scale X, get scale Y, get rotation. So there's actually like simpler ones where I think you can just give it like this. Is it okay with that? Yeah, I guess it's okay with that. But we're gonna do all these because later on we're gonna like change the rotation, and if we have this, if we don't have this in the draw method, it's not gonna draw it any differently if we change the rotation of this actor. So this is just gonna kind of cover all of our bases. Okay. So for now, that's it for this bird class. That's all it's gonna do. Next thing, we're gonna add some stuff to our gameplay screen class. And what stuff are we going to add? Stage. We're going to have a new stage. Make sure you get this LibGDX stage and not this Java XFX stage. Otherwise we'll get some errors. So every actor goes on a stage. Otherwise it's not gonna update properly, it's not gonna draw. So you'll see in a second how that's done. And I'm going to add a bird for our bird class that we made. Okay. Let's see. What happens if I run this guy? Does it even run? One thing I noticed that really is not good about this IntelliJ is it takes, I don't know, it takes like a few seconds to actually run our program. Run. See this? It's taking some time. Okay, so there you go. It was like 10 seconds or something, right? Well, that really sucks compared to Eclipse. Eclipse is like instant, so I'm kind of tempted to go back to Eclipse right now. Let's see, what's wrong with this? Okay. Well, I don't really know what it's complaining about right now, but maybe it's because we're not really done with what we're trying to do. So let me just finish up what I'm going through, and then we'll go through the errors all at once later on. Which is usually not the way you should do it. You should probably try to build as often as possible, but since I'm giving a little lesson here, I want to get through all my stuff, and I've already done it. I'm just referencing my changes. Okay, so where was I? Set to ortho. Okay. I think we actually don't need to do it like we were doing it there. Get rid of this. It's not doing anything. Now we just have to set up our gameplay stage or initialize it to something. New stage. And the stage needs a, if I do control space here, that doesn't do crap. But one of the constructors is, man, I don't even know how to see control click. Okay, so this constructor needs a viewport. Okay, so yeah, so we're going to give it a viewport so that it knows how to draw itself. And one viewport we can give it is a stretch viewport. Flappy game.width .height. Okay. So what is a stretch viewport? Yeah, that's really clear. Extends a scaling viewport. So there's different kind of viewports you can have. Basically, the one we're using is, where am I? The one we're using is, like I was saying, we're going to stretch to fit the screen no matter what resolution the user has. There's other ones that are like, it'll maintain the aspect ratio. So you might have some black bars on either side. But we're not going to do it like that. So we're going to use a stretch viewport. And we have to initialize our bird. And we're going to add the bird to the stage. So, one more thing, we have to override another method, and that's the render method. It comes with the screen. So LibGDX takes care of when the render method is called. So I think it gets called once every, I guess, 60 times a second, I believe. So in here we're going to gameplay stage act, and all that does is that's going to call the act method on each actor that's in the stage. So our bird's in the stage, but we haven't defined an act method. So it's actually, if I add act here, super.act, if I go to super, it does some stuff, but I think it does some stuff with regards to actions, if it has any actions, but it doesn't right now. So those are like tweens, basically, if you know what those are, but if not, don't worry about it. Doesn't do anything. So back to where I was, act. So the stage needs to act, and then the stage needs to draw. Okay? And that's it. Oh wait, that's not it. Resize method. What did I do here? Our assets batch set. Okay, I feel like this might be, you might be thinking this is kind of random right now. Well, let's just get rid of it for now. Okay, let's just do run and see what happens. See what it looks like. Oh, wait, did this already run? No, it's doing something. Okay, what happened? Buffer not allocated with new unsafe byte buffer. Or it's already disposed, okay. So this is a stack trace, and we'll just go back until I see my code before it got into the LibGDX stuff, because my code is probably the issue, not the LibGDX code. So this is as far as it went, batch.dispose. Alright guys, so it looks like I had a really dumb mistake here in my Flappy game. Hope this didn't cause too much confusion, but I wanted this to be disposed and not render. So obviously, if I'm disposing my assets on render, then it's going to be bad. So let's see if this runs now. Run desktop. And it's taking forever. IntelliJ. It's the way of the future, I guess. And there we go. Yeah. Okay, so something's not right here. And what that is we need to set up the desktop resolution as well. So if I go to, let me just, desktop launcher. Okay, so in my desktop launcher class now, we need to make the resolution, we don't need to, but we want the resolution to be similar to what it would look like on the phone. Okay. Okay, so let's try this again. Run desktop. Okay, there it is. And there's our bird. The default starting position is 0, 0, which is this bottom left corner, and they always draw, LibGDX draws starting at the, if the position is 0, 0, it draws the bottom left corner at 0, 0. So because we spent all that time to do the camera, the stretch viewport, you can kind of like use this to simulate how it would look on different phones. Like if I stretch this out, and you can see that it stretches this guy out too. So you can kind of, if you had a phone that had more of a square resolution, you could just kind of make sure that this is working on your desktop, and then you would know that, okay, it's going to work on, or this is how it's going to look on somebody with a square type phone, which I don't even know if they exist, but it could be like a tablet or something, those are fairly square. But okay. And one last thing. Let me just bring up okay. Bring up the Android launcher. You kind of want to do I think you want to do the same thing, right? No, maybe not. Nope, there's nothing you have to do here. Okay, I was wrong. So, there you go. I think that was way too long for one video, but at least I'm done. So if you made it this far, you're done. The code is on GitHub. I'll post the link down below. And if anything goes wrong, if something goes terribly wrong and you've lost all hope, you can get the code from my repository and use that. So one day I'll do a video on GitHub if you really need it, and if enough people complain. So please, this is just my second video, so please give me a like and subscribe and whatever else people say. Also, again, feedback. If you have any feedback, please leave it in the comments. If you're the first one to leave feedback, I'll probably listen to it because I have nothing else to gauge myself on. So yeah, go ahead and do that, and make sure you leave some encouragement for me. This it really encourages me to go on if I see people are liking and subscribing and stuff. So yeah, so thanks everybody. See you in the next video.